Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you've ever stared at a paper check sitting on your kitchen counter and just totally dreaded the errand of taking it all the way to the bank, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to master mobile check deposits with Alliant Credit Union, basically transforming your phone into a highly secure 24/7 personal teller. To kick things off, I want you to think about a pretty massive number, 80,000. That is the number of fee-free ATMs in Alliant's nationwide network. Now, that's an incredibly convenient feature for grabbing cash, sure, but it begs a rather provocative question. With a network literally that huge, why on earth should you even bother driving to an ATM just to deposit a tiny piece of paper? The truth is, you really shouldn't have to. Your smartphone is a teller that never closes, never makes you wait in line, and is sitting right there in your pocket. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our chronological roadmap for today. Number 1, app setup and benefits. 2, capturing the perfect photo. 3, submitting and verifying. 4, troubleshooting and deposit holds. And finally, 5, security and best practices. Right, starting off with Section 1, app setup and benefits. Getting your digital banking hub set up is incredibly straightforward, but there are just a couple of technical specifics you're going to need to know. First off, download the Alliant mobile banking app from your App Store or Google Play. You do want to make sure your device is running a modern operating system, so specifically that's iOS 17.0 or higher for Apple users or Android 14.0 or higher. Once it's installed, you can just use your existing online banking credentials, or if you're brand new, you can register right there in the app. Actually, one of my absolute favorite features here is the fingerprint authentication. You can log in securely with just a quick touch, totally bypass all that password typing, and immediately jump into the deposit feature. Now, exactly why this matters to your wallet goes way beyond just skipping a commute to a branch. Using the mobile deposit feature can actually help you earn money. It's true. Alliant offers a high-rate checking account with a 0.25% APY dividend. But to qualify for that really great rate, you have to opt into e-statements and have at least one electronic deposit each month. And the beautiful thing here is that a mobile check deposit counts as that required electronic deposit. So literally, by depositing a check from your couch, you are checking the box to earn your monthly dividend. Talk about a win-win. Moving right along to Section 2, capturing the perfect photo. Okay, this part is absolutely crucial, and it all happens right on the back of your check. You cannot simply sign your name and call it a day. No way. Alliant requires what's known as a restrictive endorsement. You must write the exact phrase Alliant CU mobile deposit only directly underneath your signature. If you forget this very specific phrase, the automated system is highly likely to reject your check. It's a strict rule, but it's designed to prevent a check from accidentally being deposited at two completely different banks. Once it's endorsed, the physical setup for taking the photo is everything. Let's contrast the right and wrong ways to do this, because it makes a huge difference. A good setup means placing your check on a flat, dark surface with nice, even, indirect lighting. A dark table works perfectly. On the flip side, a bad setup would be trying to photograph a crumpled-up check on a cluttered white table with heavy shadows. Oh, and this is a fascinating point pulled right from user experiences. You can never, ever take a photo of a printed copy or a computer screen. The app's software is smart enough to know it's not the original physical document, and it will reject it every single time. It has to be the original paper check. When you're snapping the photo, this brilliantly illustrates exactly what you need to do. You got to make absolutely sure all four corners of the paper are totally visible inside your phone's camera frame. The check needs to be perfectly isolated against that dark background. Also, take a look at the bottom of the check. That line of funky numbers is called the microline, which contains all your routing and account data. That entire line must be crystal clear and completely in focus, with no shadows or weird glare cutting across it. All right, you've got the photo. That brings us to Section 3, submitting and verifying. Let's move into the final submission. We're talking just a few taps here. First, pick your destination, whether that's going into your checking or your savings account. Then, step 2 is super vital. Verify the exact amount. You have to manually type in the amount of the check, and it absolutely must match the written amount on the paper perfectly. Seriously, even a 1 cent difference can cause a manual review delay. Just take a quick final look at your front and back images to ensure nothing is blurry and hit submit. You'll get an immediate on-screen confirmation letting you know the images were received. Now hold on a second. A quick word of warning before you go celebrating your digital deposit by immediately ripping up that paper check. Don't do it. Alliant's retention policy actually requires you to hold on to that physical document, keeping it in a safe place for 30 days. This is just a protective measure in case there's a processing error or some kind of issue with the image down the line. Once those 30 days are totally up and the funds are fully cleared, well, then you can confidently run it right through the shredder. Next up is Section 4, Troubleshooting and Deposit Holds. If you literally just joined Alliant and are a brand new member, you really need to pay close attention to these rules. Under standard banking regulations, Alliant has a strict 30-day probationary period for new accounts. During your first 30 days, low-risk items like government checks will generally clear that exact same day. However, if you're depositing a personal check, a business check, or even a payroll check, you're likely going to face a 9-business-day hold. I know. This is a common source of frustration for new folks who expect instant access, so it is absolutely vital to plan your cash flow accordingly during that very first month. Also, keep in mind they simply do not accept third-party checks for new accounts, meaning a check written to someone else who then signed it over to you. Now for an awesome actionable tip for everyone, whether you're a new or longtime member. If you want your funds to start processing as quickly as possible, you gotta beat the clock. Alliant's cutoff time is 2 p.m. Central Time on business days. If you submit your pristine check photos before that 2 p.m. deadline, the deposit jumps into that day's processing cycle. But if you submit it at, say, 3 p.m. or on a weekend, the processing won't even begin until the very next business day. But what happens if the app just flat out refuses to take your picture? Well, the mechanics of why the app projects images almost always come down to edge detection and contrast. Think about it. If you put a white check on a white countertop, the camera literally cannot find the edges of the document. The solution is always to introduce contrast. Use that dark table we talked about. If the check is folded up, the text distorts, so be sure to flatten those creases. And if your phone flash accidentally goes off on glossy check paper, it creates a whiteout effect right over the numbers. Turn the flash off, use natural room lighting, and keep your hands incredibly steady. All right, finally, Section 5, Security and Best Practices. You might be wondering, is this actually safe? When you hit submit, your data isn't just flying through the internet in plain text for anyone to read. Alliant utilizes 256-bit encryption. To put that into perspective, this is an advanced standard protocol used by governments and major financial institutions all over the globe. It basically scrambles the transactional data moving between your phone and the credit union into this unbreakable digital vault. Anyone trying to intercept that data, they just see a chaotic, unreadable mess. But what if you accidentally leave your phone at a coffee shop right after making a deposit? Don't panic. You are still protected. The Alliant app is designed so that no sensitive account information and absolutely no images of your checks are ever saved locally in your phone's camera roll or memory. The entire transmission is secured by SSL protocols, and just getting into the app itself requires your unique fingerprint or multi-factor authentication. Your device is really just a secure conduit, not a storage locker for your financial documents. So we've covered the setup, the perfect photo technique, the troubleshooting, and the rock-solid security. It's actually pretty empowering to realize you hold a fully functional bank teller right in the palm of your hand, isn't it? You've got the tools, you know the common pitfalls to avoid, and you know exactly how to beat that 2 p.m. cutoff clock. You are entirely ready to skip the ATM lines for good and manage your deposits straight from the comfort of your own couch. Real quick before we wrap up, remember that bank policies do evolve, so always consult Alliant's latest agreements or give their 24/7 support line a call at 800-328-1935 if you run into any weird snags. But now that you hold a 24/7 bank teller right in your pocket, what are you going to do with all those hours you used to spend waiting in line? Thanks for tuning into this explainer.